Hello, friends. So Heather has started a Sockalong at Pearly Shell, and when I was talking to her, she said, "Hey, Kelly, do you have any toe-up socks?" She and Danielle wanted to work a toe-up sock and try it, and I said, "Well, I don't do many toe-up socks. I like top-down better, but I do have a couple." And I said, "The Dreaming of the Caribbean sock is a pretty easy one." And it's part of my Hoppy Feet series. So this is the book that I wrote. It has 12 socks and a pair of mitts and a tea cozy in it because I just couldn't resist putting a little tea cozy in there. And it has big photos because I like having big photos. And if there happens to be a chart, there are great big charts because, again, I like to have big charts. So when they asked, I said, yes, I have this toe-up sock, and it's part of my sock series that was in this book, where I explored different toes and heels and cuffs and cast-ons and bind-offs and different techniques. So if you worked all of the socks in my sock book, you would learn a lot about socks. One of the things that I did in the front of my book is I talked about how to use the book and some important points to consider while you're knitting socks. So I'm going to read through those quickly. Socks may be knit in many ways on double-pointed needles by magic loop or with two circulars. Socks may be knit singly or two at a time. Some may even be knit one inside the other. Socks are always knit with negative ease. This means that the fabric must stretch to fit around the foot. Negative ease will also keep socks from sliding down the calf. Properly fit socks hug your foot to prevent wear and tear on the fabric. Properly fit socks will not slide on your foot as you wear them. There are many different heels and toes, and some will fit your foot better than others, which is why we will try many different heels and toes. Cast-offs for toe-ups and cast-ons for top-downs should be stretchy enough to fit around the leg. In other words, don't cast on or off too tightly. And then I give you a little formula for how to figure out the gauge that is ideal for your yarn and your foot for your socks. And that is your stitches per inch times the circumference of your sock, which is the measurement around the ball. That's the fat point of your foot behind your toes. And then you use the 0.9, which is negative ease. That takes 10% of your stitches away. And that will give you your ideal number of stitches. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about how to find that. I have a friend that I make socks for every year for Christmas, and I owe her a pair of socks this year for Christmas. So she picked out her yarn, and I'm using just this self-striping something from my stash. I'm not even sure what this is. I bought it, and it's been in the stash for a long time. And I went ahead and made a little gauge swatch. I would usually use double-pointed needles because I desperately love my double-pointed needles, especially my signatures. However, they are currently in another project, so I am using my signature circulars, and I do have a fixed signature circular in a size 1. I really like size 1s. I know that my pattern actually tells you to use a size 2 for the suggested yarn, but my yarn is thinner. That means I need to use a smaller needle in order to get a tight enough gauge so that when my socks are worn, you don't get holes too quickly. So anyway, I went ahead and I cast on 20 stitches and I just knit a row, purled a row, knit a row, purled a row until I had a little swatch going. And now what I'm going to do is take my tape measure and spread my little swatch out, and I'm going to measure it. So my swatch is 2.25 inches. And that means we need to take the calculator, and I'm using my phone, you just can't see it. So I have 20 stitches and 2.25 inches. So that means it's 8.88 stitches per inch. So we're going to use that 8.8 or 8.9, we'll call it 8.9 stitches per inch. And the ball of my foot and the ball of Carly's foot actually measures 8.25 inches around because we were the same size, which is very handy. So once we do that, 8.25 inches, and then we have to multiply that by 0.9. That gives us our ideal number of stitches, which is 66. So if you remember, I said we were using a size 2 needle for this Dreaming of the Caribbean sock, but it was also using a little thicker yarn. And when we look at the total number of stitches, it recommends 48, but I have just calculated that we need 66 stitches. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and check out my pattern, and I'm going to read through it, and where it says, basically I'm dividing it into 2 halves, and it looks like I have a 2-stitch pattern repeat. So as long as I can divide this, let's see, 66 divided by 2, well, that gives me 33 stitches. So 33 stitches does not divide evenly again by 2. So what we need to do is remove a couple more stitches. So we're actually going to cast on 64 stitches, because that'll give us 32 stitches for the top and 32 stitches for the bottom. And that means that when I cast on, I'm going to cast on my 12 stitches just like it recommends in the pattern. But then I'm going to go ahead and I will increase out until I have 64 total stitches instead of 48. And that is going to give me my ideal number of stitches with that little bit of negative ease for my swatch, for my yarn and my needles. So that's how you get from the needle size and the yarn to something you can work with a pattern, even if it's not the same needle size or the same yarn for the pattern. Gauge swatches are fabulous things. They're very important. So if you've gone ahead and done your gauge swatch and you're ready to cast on, I recommend the Judy's Magic Cast On for this sock. And I have another video on my YouTube channel that you can check out and learn how to do that Judy's Magic Cast On. I will probably cast on with my Kelly's Center Out Cast On because I actually like that one a little bit better. It's a little more familiar to me, and yes, I did invent it. So if you want to check out a brand new cast on that not a lot of people know about yet, you can also go check out my video for Kelly's Center Cast On, my Center Out Cast On. Next time when I see you, I will have my sock started, so I'll have my increases all done, I'll have that toe all ready to go, and hopefully I can knit along with everybody and we can enjoy our little sock along that Pearly Shell has set up. So make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can catch all of the videos as I knit along with everyone on the sock along. And thanks Heather and Danielle for suggesting this. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm going to get these socks done for my friend for Christmas. So that's fabulous. I will see you next time.